Today we're going to talk about real estate business in Amsterdam. It's all about who do you know. It's a people's business. I myself have been in real estate for 20 years, so I've seen quite some good and bad stuff. Just to give you an example, many years ago I met this crazy banker from the south of Europe. I screened him, everything was legit. We go to a super penthouse, he loves it, and he says, I want this place. So yeah, I made the deal. We smoke a cigarette or two. His cigarettes he put out in a flower pot. We leave for dinner, we go for drinks, and guess what? The whole place burned down to the ground. I gave him a lot of good references, services. I placed him out in another apartment. And yeah, from that moment on, we remained friends. He even said, if you ever need a rental in Amsterdam, go to this guy. And now we're going to one of the best real estate agents in Amsterdam. Why in the hell did you become a real estate agent?
The short version, my first stepmother said, Sven, you really like working with persons. He said, do something with real estate. And I hadn't got a clue what real estate really was. I mean, selling houses or something. So I, went to people, went to real estate agents, asked for agendas and just put on my suit and went for it. And 26 years later, I'm sitting here with you.
What works better for you as a real estate agent? Online, email, phone, or old school, walk into the office?
I like it now much more because it goes faster. You have more contact with all the people, although there's internet, but internet means that there's a better connection between the two human beings. And that makes my job really great to do every day.
Real estate is now in high demand. We have lots of internationals landing in the Netherlands, especially Amsterdam. What kind of clientele do you have today?
Well, we have two big parts, buying and selling and renting. And those are two big elements for our office. And most people who come from abroad first start renting a property. So we help them finding a rental house or apartment, or we rent them out for them. Because in the last 10, 15 years, a lot of people who came from abroad actually bought a property. They keep it when they go for the next 5 years to another country somewhere in the world.
So it's like a circle of life. They came as a tenant, they rented through your agency. Most likely they loved your services that much that they came to this office as well, buy a property. They have left, then please lease out my property. So you are in this habitat continuously with this expat community.
Yeah, and the funny thing is we call it the ambassadors of your company.
So you can still remember that first foreigner who came as a tenant and bought. Do you still know his name?
Yeah, I still know his name.
Yeah?
But there was a Romanian guy called Marcus.
No way.
Yeah, really. In Diemen, he bought his first property at it's called the Juliana Plantsoen. It was not the most sexy apartment, but when you're 20 years further, I think it was one of the best investments he did.
Okay, so he still loves you very much for this one.
Well, love, I won't say love, he is married, but I mean...
Will you stay in this neighborhood, or do you want to be at the canal belt and open an office there, or do you say, no, hey, the Pijp?
Yeah, I think I'm really attached to the neighborhood. We don't want to leave this neighborhood. Like we're like married to the Pijp area.
So how does it work? Not everybody has money on the table to buy cash, like in other countries. When they need a mortgage, how do you deal with this?
That's a good question. We have several mortgage advisors, and why more? Because not all the people fit in the same system or at the same person. I mean, it's a people's business, so you also look which person or which company fits best with your client. So we have several mortgage advisors which we tell our client to go to also before we actually do our first steps on the market, because you really want to know what's wise for them to rent or to buy based on based on their earnings or the mortgage they can get. I mean, if there's something wrong with your apartment, you go to the guy.
Yeah. But do you still help them in the after sales?
Sure. I mean, I love my job, so you work like 24/7, and of course I don't answer the phone at 3 o'clock at night because then it's on sleeping modus.
Yeah, but what if they call you 5 times? Do you still and you know you're being called 5 times? Do you answer?
If I'm awake, I will respond to it for sure. Yeah.
So do tell me, what gives you the most satisfaction in your job?
Well, the most satisfaction is realizing the dream of a client. And when they come in with a certain idea and that it's really possible to help them realize the dream. Yeah, it is a customer journey. And we are, in a way, really happy that we can help them going through the certain journey. And also tell them where the risks are, and also telling them no when we really think that you don't have to buy the property, or don't have to buy the property, or shouldn't buy the property.
So, I never knew this. You actually say no to a customer when it's not feasible?
Absolutely, yeah. And it happens a lot.
So you save the customer from a mistake?
If you hire a good real estate agent, that's what agents should do.
What in your career was so weird that you want to share with me?
Yeah, well, immediately I think about something that I can't share, I think.
I had 5 years ago a guy who smoked with me a cigarette and he put it out in a flower pot and the whole apartment was burnt.
The whole apartment was burnt.
In Houthaven, so there was a brand new apartment, new furniture, everything. But I assume you have these stories too, right?
Yeah, I know some of those stories also, yeah.
But what did you have? Floodings, fire?
No, floodings, I had floodings, yeah. And I have fires also, but also in combination, let's say, with the things you can find in Amsterdam that they don't have somewhere in the United States. Martijn, good that you're here, because now I really want to show you the reason why we're actually already 20 years in this neighborhood. So you're up for it?
So we're going to walk through it?
Absolutely.
I'm up for it.
If you go off the main street, where my office is, and you just walk into this neighborhood, you see some hidden pearls, which is really something you see in Amsterdam a lot. But for example, if you look over here, big old diamond polishing factory. That was even active till like 1900s or something, when all the people who worked there lived in those small tiny houses which you would never see if you stay on the main street. And Martijn, just to give you an example about some properties in our backyard, we just saw the small tiny houses, the museum next to the big arch over there, and now we see the big family house next to the Amsterdam. More than 200 square meters, and your front yard is the famous River Amstel, where Amsterdam is named of.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So this is what actually happened in the 20 years when you built your office. Property comes to you, but also does the client.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, impressive. So, do tell me, what do you bring back to the neighborhood?
Well, one of the first things I did when I started my company over here is that together with 6 other shop owners, we created a new association of shop owners. We wanted to redefine the street, to do something with it, because this was a 50-kilometer street, now it's 30 kilometers. And we wanted to make sure that the pedestrians have all the room and cyclists and not the cars, because now you see hardly any cars. So it was a really fast and ugly street, and now it's a more open street for all the shop owners, all the people, of course, who want to use the benefits of this street.
Wines, drinks, coffee.
Pigeons.
Proost. Helemaal top dit.
Ja, heerlijk.
I can imagine that first-time buyers have a lot of stress, you know, it's the biggest purchase of their life. What's your story on that?
Well, specifically first-time buyers, they're really nervous. I mean, it's a big amount, it's a big step from rental to buying something. All the parents, if they're involved, or family, have influence on the decision because they all know better. Amsterdam is way too expensive because they live somewhere cheaper. But the really nice thing then is take them by the hand and go through the process. That we are there to make sure that they don't make that mistake that a lot of people can make. And that's a lot of satisfaction.
So that customer you take by the hand, step by step, that's why they stick to you.
Yeah.
1 viewing, 10 viewings, maybe 20 viewings.
Yeah.
Sign the deal, close the deal, you help them along the way.
Yeah. And the nicer thing then is, really Martijn, is that we don't need it. We're then getting a box of chocolates or a big bunch of bottle of wine or whatever.
Or instead of you giving them for the purchase a champagne.
You don't expect it, and when that happens, that's really when you're really satisfied in doing the job you do every day.